As we always start, can you give us a scouting report of them offensively, especially at the quarterback position?
Number one is a football team offensively. Very explosive, probably skill-wise the most talented we've seen all year, counting Ohio State. I think they've got dynamic receivers. They've got several of them. They're long, they're athletic, they catch the ball. You've got number three. He's the shorter one of them, but he's an explosive guy. The Switzer kid, and just a talented core of receivers. Running backs the same way. I think they'll be the most talented set of backs because they play four of them that we've seen. They've got speed, they've got power. You've got 8, you've got 1, you've got 21. Those guys are very similar. They're quick, they're explosive. You got 34, the Hood kid, was a bigger back, 220 that can run and run behind his pad. So they're a talented group. And the quarterback spot, Marquise is as talented as anybody we're going to play. I mean, he's like the kid at Ohio State. He's got a live arm. He's extremely athletic. He's a big kid. He can run the ball. He can throw it. Then they're playing number 10, a redshirt freshman. It's they're doing that. They did that with Renner, and Marquise. They kind of bring them in at the third series or whatnot and play them. And, a kid that's got a live arm and, has run the offense, well. But, a very solid group. I think, up front, they're big, they're athletic. But that's the one area, I've seen, some people able to get a little push on the quarterback. So, but we just got to do a great job. We've got to stop the run and eliminate explosive plays. I mean, it's they're averaging 41 points a game, and that's the most dynamic offense we've seen is to date, And I'd say athletically they're explosive like East Carolina at receiver. But they've got more backs from the back, in the backfield.
A lot of teams will play two quarterbacks, and they're sort of different stylistically. Are these guys the same, or
they're the same? I don't think 10 runs it quite as well, but he's capable. They'll run quarterback draws, they'll run quarterback sweeps, they'll do a lot of different things with the quarterback. A lot like Ohio State. They'll run a zone play one way, but the quarterback will be running the sweep the other way. And but that's usually done, with Marquise, but that's not to say they won't do it with, with the other kid. But they run their offense. They do what they do. They're very balanced. On 1st and 10 to start, they're 50-50. On 1st and 10 within, they're 50-50. On 2nd and 6 or less, they're 50-50. I mean, that's what they do. They throw the ball, they run the ball, they run a lot of tunnel screens. That we call them jailbreaks. They like screens to the back. I mean, they'll do it on any down and distance, and they're just a wide open offensive football team that creates a lot of play. Gets the ball to a lot of athletes in space, and we've got to do a great job of running to the football, and then again they're going to take their shots, and we're going to mix up our coverages and whatnot. But the other thing they do, they're very fast tempo. They'll be probably they'll be like in East Carolina or Marshall. They'll want to run 90+ plays, and so we've got to really. Our plan is just going to be, we're just going to kind of adjust as they go, when it's all said and done.
Obviously, you have to take care of the defense, but does the offense need to help you out a little bit in a game like this?
Well, yeah, I'd like to see, they've given up 70 and 50 the last 2 games. That'd be great, I'd like to see that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I haven't seen them on defense. I don't know what's going on. Obviously, I think they say they're really talented on defense. They just, they'll bust a coverage or they'll give up a big play, and obviously this is a big game, and I don't know if they'll simplify what they're doing. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but yeah, it'd be great. Last year, we played really well, against them down here. We gave up, a late touchdown. It was, but it was 10. We gave up 10 points till the very end of the game, and I'd like to see if we can play that way again. But we didn't give up the big play last year. And that's going to be critical again for our success. We just can't get them going. But I'll say this: they're a little bit different team. I think out on the road. At home rather. And they'll be wide open. They're going to run a reverse pass, a flea flicker. That's part of what they do. They'll run some gadgets. That's just part of their offense. They're a wide open group. We've got to be very sound and and good at what we do.
Along those lines, you mentioned the big plays. Obviously, it seems like against Western, you cut down on them from the previous couple weeks. But it's, this defense for long stretches played really well, but it's been a little susceptible to some big plays.
Yeah.
How do you address that? 'Cause
Well, you
obviously-
address it by his execution, when it comes down to guys executing the defense. We're playing 3 deep and a guy runs behind him, or we're playing supposed to be a quarters half safety and he's bailing out, or he's supposed to be inside and he's outside. It's not the scheme, it's the technique of the executing the defense, and that's where we've got to be good. It's and just play your position and play how it's taught, and that's what we got to do.
Dietrich mentioned after the game he thought you guys played a little more coverage last week, whatever that
We
means.
did, we mixed it up. With our bear package that we ran last week, we were able to run. We played different coverages, against Ohio State and East Carolina. We played a lot more man free, or even against Ohio State, a lot of zero coverage, and then we adjusted as the game went along. Against East Carolina, we played a lot of man free. Last week, we played a little bit more variety of stuff, and getting back to what we like to do a little bit. But wanted to stop the run, and they ran a little bit of a speed sweep, and that's why we got into the bear early, and that kind of eliminates that play. And then we were able to get back and play some base defense and do some things and some coverages and mix up our coverages, which we like to do.
Well, that was easy. Obviously, they've had struggles defensively, giving up points and yards. What do you see from them defensively?
I saw the same thing that you saw last year, and what we mean by that is they've had a little bit of struggle, but that defense last year made great strides about this time last year, and they went on a winning streak all the way till the last game of the year. And I think they're super athletic. They always have been. I think they have the ability to make all the plays. They can tackle. They can run sideline to sideline, and we expect them to bring their best A game, and we have to bring ours.
That was such a poor rushing effort for you guys against them last year. Does that, I know it's a new year, but does that motivate you? Do you remind the guys of what
Absolutely. And it's just like what I said, the week prior to us playing them, if I remember correctly, they played East Carolina and gave up some rushing yardage, and then they came out here and kicked our rear ends up and down the field when it came to running the football. So we're expecting their best, and they're more than athletic enough. They're a good football team, and we'll have to go down there and we'll have to be on. We got to play a whole football game, not a half, not a quarter like we did in the East Carolina game. We got to play a whole football game to win this game.
A lot of talk on Saturday was about at halftime, sort of the adjustments that were made going to the run game. What was that like at halftime? How does that happen where it seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed like there was some sort of disconnect of some kind between what you went in planning to do and what happened in the
It's
first
exactly
half?
what happened. They presented much more movement than what anticipated. We actually tried to run the ball. If you broke down our first and second down ratios, we were 18 runs to 10 passes if you take out the 2-minute. And they did some things and defensively with some movement, and we had some plays that aren't good versus movement. And we made adjustments, got into 2 tights essentially, 2 tights, 2 wide receivers, and with what they were doing, we knew the scheme that we went to would be very good. So
Was that second half of football? I mean, when you're just playing smash mouth like that, is that really fun to call as a coordinator?
absolutely, it's much easier to run it all the time than it is to drop back and throw it. Now you got to do both, obviously, but it was a time in the game. If I would, going into it, I thought the plan was right. I didn't think that I had some mistakes in that first half, and then we were able to adjust and get back on track. So there was a couple things that I would have done differently, about 4 or 5 things that I would have done different, but we were able to adjust and get on track.
How does that conversation go? I know the coaches meet before you go with the players, so what is the coaches meeting like at halftime when you want to get back to?
There's a lot of statistical information that's taking place through, everyone's got a job, and basically Coach Searles and Steiny and Shane get together and discuss what they want run ideas, and we share each other's ideas and make adjustments and go.
I know you guys have kind of altered the tempo at times this year, going fast, going slow. Is this a week where you would prefer to maybe slow it down just because UNC is going to want to push the tempo when they can.
Yeah, that's a great point. They have the ability to, with their tempo to go so fast, and what we got to do offensively to help the defense, we got to control the game. We got to control the clock. We got to make sure that we're trying to keep the ball in our hands and not giving them opportunities. And that'll be a challenge, just like I said. This defense, it reminds me exactly last year. A switch went on, and they played really, really, really well from our game on. And we'll have to play our tails off. We know that they play really well at home. We've got great respect for them, and it'll be a great Saturday. It'll be a challenge for sure.
Malik, did he practice today?
He did.
You expect to have him
Yeah,
full go?
I hope so. Absolutely, I hope so.
Coach Scholl said you guys even went to more like zone blocking, I guess, in the second half. I mean, is that again something that just kind of dictates when you're playing, or is that something you feel
we
you
were
can kind of
running
go
some
to more?
man schemes, and they were moving the front quite a bit. So we adjusted by going to some zone scheme, which controls the movement, and gave our back some creases.
Is that something you feel like you can maybe go to more though, as much success as you
You're
have?
gonna walk into a game. We're always gonna have zone schemes. We're a zone team, but we were highlighting some man schemes versus some movements and zone pressures that you really don't necessarily want to be running. So we just went all zone.
You narrowed down what you want to do running back wise. Would it be series for series with Marshawn and Trey, or?
We'll see where that goes. Marshawn and Trey and JC will be the featured guys, with Joel having a role also. And then obviously Sam is always in the mix. I mean, Sam plays so many different positions in our offense; it's unbelievable. So we'll have a plan for that for sure.
We've asked you about Trey's progress. I think I get asked about Joel, like at least on an every other day kind of thing. I think 'cause obviously he was such a big recruit, and has he progressed at all? Has he been able to figure in more?
He's getting better. Yeah, he did some good things at the end of that game, and got to remember this is his second year playing running back. It's not like he was a recruited running back, and sometimes those position changes take a little bit longer than what you hope. You look at Bucky's game. Bucky's got such great skill set and talent, and the future's so bright for him. But he's got things right now that are completely raw out there. So, we got a young team right now. We got young guys. At times we look young. At times we look like we know what we're doing, and we just got to keep chugging along, keep improving.
How far along is, you mentioned Bucky, how far along is he? So you mentioned in the spring, obviously it's the first time he really does it. He was
Yeah.
operating off a card last year in the fall when you guys put him, I guess this week, the UNC week, at tight end, and he said in the spring it was like a foreign language, and now he's kind of getting it a little quicker, but some of the blocking assignments on blitz pickups and things like that still throw him off. Is there how far along is he on the curve?
He's not that far off, but the difference between sometimes winning a play and losing a play are a perfect step. And at times, if you don't have a perfect step, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter, especially when you're playing against someone as good as you. So, there's some things that he does that are off the charts, and he is going to be something else. He just needs to continue with the details. As long as Cam and Isaiah and Marshawn, they're all kind of in the same boat. They're super talented. They're way ahead of what we would say called freshmen would be, but at times they do some freshman things.
Do you lean on Ryan a little bit to kind of bring Bucky
Absolutely.
along?
You can't wait for Ryan to be back full go. That really takes some pressure off of Bucky, and we can focus just on the things that Bucky does well rather than having him do everything. So yes, to answer your question, Ryan Malik's very important.
You happy with the starting five on the line? We saw you make some switches in the second half to get experience, I guess.
Mhm.
Are you happy with what you have in five, or are you still seeing Teller trying to push in there?
I think the competition will always occur every day here. Do I think that our guys have improved? Yes, but we want the guys pushing each other, and we'll go recruit as many guys as we can. We constantly want that sense of competition.
Is Wyatt I mean, he seems like a guy who's good, and then maybe has one where he's inconsistent.
Yeah,
Is
he's
that-
just like, very similar to, I forget what the question was, it was towards Bucky or what have, no, it was Joel.
Joel.
Very similar. You got a guy that has literally moved from defensive line to offensive line, and that does not happen overnight. I mean, that's sometimes a year, 2-year project, and he's farther along than the typical switch. But is he there? No. He's got a long way to go to improve. But I think he's going to be a really, really good offensive lineman someday. It's just he needs to learn how to play and learn how every day and every snap is a grind, and he'll get there. Stacy will get him there.
Did Brewer respond in the second half the way you
Yeah,
hoped you would?
Absolutely.
after the 2
The interception down here off of the one that was returned down, I normally call a spade to a spade exactly how it is, and that was a 100% team interception. We had a protection breakdown. We had a spacing problem. We had a problem with the flat control, not controlling the flat, and he had a guy in his face and he didn't see the corner. And so I normally say how the interception, and that was 100% that was a team interception, that one.